Peace and blessings. This is Lady Crenshaw coming at you with Soldiers TV. I first would like to say thank you for everyone who's been supporting, giving topics, suggestions, and just letting me know that you're watching. I really appreciate it. There are many YouTube shows that you could be watching, and you're taking the time to watch Soldiers, and I really appreciate that. So let's get right into the topic. Today's topic is going to be, what are we instilling in our children as Black women? Um, Particularly, we're going to talk about if you have sons and then if you have daughters, to ensure that we understand that the importance of the image that we as the mothers are giving our daughters and sons. It does affect their growth process. It does affect their selection in their mates. Just our model alone. So let's go into those of us who have daughters. I don't know too many sisters who object to the fact that they hope that their daughters grow up to be respectable and ladies, and ensure that they have a good head on their shoulders, firm belief system, and a standard that is to be expected when they're dealing with the opposite sex in their grown life. So I would like to address how a lot of sisters, or women in general, tend to think that if kids are too young, they may not understand language. And that is very true. They may not understand what the words you're saying, but the energy that you're putting behind the words. If you're telling your daughter, oh, your daddy ain't nothing, she may not understand that as a 1 year old, but she feels the energy that's going off. And when children don't understand language and they have not become masters of their particular language, they communicate via energy, via facial expressions, body language, all of the other means of communication. So they're able to translate what you are repeating to them, whether it's about their father, whether it's about their grandparents, whether it's about yourself. They can translate to that. So never, this is for the little boys and the little girls, never discount what you believe they can understand, because trust me, they're getting it, and this is in the foundation of their belief system of what is going to make and mold them into the individual that they are. Now, there are many instances where the children hear negative things from their mother and they reverse it because they're like, mama, they realize the nonsense that their mothers are on. But for the most part, especially in the Black community, when it is a household ran by a Black woman, your word is gold. And when you are passing on information to your child, that is grown information. They should not be having any type of information on whether or not someone likes them, someone is there for them. You should not be passing that on to them, because all they're going to do is internalize it and try to understand what is wrong with them when they're the child, and nothing is wrong with them because grown folks can't understand. So when we have our daughters and our daughters are hearing us say, Black men ain't nothing. Black men are sorry fathers. Black men are players. They're dogs. When they hear this, of course, they're going to translate this to themselves, because all they do is mimic and play. So when they're mimicking and play, it's very interesting. My background is education, early childhood education, and it's very interesting to see preschoolers play and depict what they believe grown folks' reality is. And it's even more alarming when you see these children doing this, the Black kids doing it, and there is no representation of the man in the home. And I'm not at all putting any blame or justification on why brothers aren't there, but I don't do a brother show. I do a sister show. This is called Soul Dress. So I'm only going to talk about the women. And the more that we're giving our daughters these preconceived notions about what the Black man is, then of course they are going to grow up with a judge or a grudge that they don't even understand where it came from, and all it was them continually hearing from their mothers and their grandmothers and their aunties that black men ain't nothing. And we have the power to change that. We have the power to instill in our daughters, black men are kings, they are gods, they are something that we need to be proud of, and we need to be ready to represent them at all costs, because we need to demand that they represent us at all costs. And when we don't do that, and when we're giving them counter black men ideals, of course they're going to grow up questioning why they should trust the image of a black man, especially if all they're seeing, and not to mention what the media portrays black men to be, on top of them being at home with you and hearing that you can't stand a black man, you can't find a good black man. There are plenty of them out there. You just got to keep looking, or maybe you need to check yourself on why you can't hold one down. And they see that. They also see the image of you jumping from one man to another. You think that they don't understand that, but when they see that intimacy, again, they may not understand, but they're feeling this energy and they're processing it some type of way to become a mini you, especially the girls, because they just want to be like their mama. And it gets to a point where it becomes such a conflict, because the little girls know that little girls naturally want that father figure, as the little boys naturally want this father figure. And when it's not there, and they see these different men coming in and out of your life, they internalize and believe it's okay to have different men coming in and out of their lives, and that's just not true. Sisters, with a daughter or a son, when you're dating, the standard for the man to come into your child or children's lives should be so high, because you don't want anybody who's not going to be there on a long-term basis, because that's unfair to your children. They're going to get attached, because the absence makes them run to whoever comes into that position. And if it's only a 2-3 month deal, that's too much breakdown that the child has to go through, and that is totally unfair. And this isn't just to the opposite sex. When you have friends and they come into your children's lives, you should have very high standards on who and what are allowed to be of any type of influence, because whether we like it or not, what your children see you do somehow will give them the okay to attempt to do that too, or to justify the ill that is being done. And that's very, very unsafe. And when they see the women, even the way that that we dress as sisters, even the way that we carry ourselves, sisters are always wondering, well, how come I keep attracting these type of men, and not really looking in the mirror and saying, what about my energy is inviting these men, while your daughters are doing nothing but trying to mimic you. And they will begin to attract this same thing at an even earlier age, because especially if their fathers are not in the home, because they're just looking for love. They're just looking for that male protection. So when we're doing this, we really need to be careful with our young sisters, because their hormones are, they got bigger breasts than we do at age 12. They're curvaceous. The hormones in these foods have got them already sexually ready to have a sexual appetite. And this is something that we need to be conscious of, and ensure that, we're being the right example for these little girls, because all they know is what they see, and not what you tell them. It's not do as I say, not as I do, because they're going to look at you and believe you're a hypocrite. And this is where the clashing of mother and daughter relationships come from, because you're representing something, but you're telling me to represent something, but you're not representing it yourself. So of course your daughters are going to clash with you once they start thinking on their own, and trying to develop their own identity, versus if you're honest with them and you're telling them, you don't want to do this. Oh, and even if it's honest in terms of saying, I was like this before, this is why you don't want to do it, and you're still being that example of not doing whatever the ill was, sleeping around, letting men take advantage of you, letting your friends take advantage of you, any of these type of things, your daughters are going to mimic. And it is crucial that we are here for our little girls, because they are the ones who will be